It's time to start rallying around America's young conservatives and explore what it means to be a young Republican in the 21st century. In a world where it seems like everyone under 30 must be a liberal, these are the stories you haven't heard before from the voices of America's young conservatives. So let's find out what it truly means to be raised right. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Raised Right podcast. I'm your host, Rae'Lee Klein, a 22-year-old young conservative who's ready to bring you the stories of America's patriots. This week, I have a very special guest on by the name of Lauren Gleason. Now, Lauren is a college student, and as school starts up again across the country, she had to make a very difficult decision that a lot of other students are having to make as well. And as this sweeps across the country, I invited her to come on to talk about her courage to make the decision that was best for her, but it also cost her something that she held very near and dear to her heart. And it's just so trivial and such a good testimony to just where we're at as a country and the courage that it's going to take to step up and to fight back against what is being asked of us as young conservatives. So I'm so excited for her to come on and share her story, and hopefully she inspires others, or at least gives them the confidence to make the decision that's best for them, as she did. So let's have her on to hear her story. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So why don't you just start by telling us a little bit about yourself, how you grew up, if you were quote unquote raised right, and just your background.
Yeah, I have been living in a Christian valued home all my life, going to Sunday school every Sunday, and I've been very much like into being Republican family. But it wasn't really until everything started happening in like 2020 when everything just hit and I was like, what is going on? Where I finally started getting involved and finding out what is going on, because I'm one for researching and knowing, especially when things started being involved in your life and you don't even realize it. And it honestly didn't hit me until everybody started wearing masks and all these mandates were happening, and I couldn't even go to a bowling game or anything like that, or go to any swim meets. And I was like, what is going on? So I finally got involved and became really conservative, watching Charlie Kirk. And oh my gosh, it was a beautiful thing. I was able to finally see after being blind for so long. So it's been a long ride, but yeah, so I've been growing up Christian and now a very strong conservative.
That's awesome. Good for you for standing up. I think COVID was really like a wake up moment for a lot of people because our lives were changed in so many ways, and we started to realize what was causing that and seeing our freedoms being stripped, and it was a wake up moment without a doubt.
For sure.
So what year of school are you in now?
I am going to be going into my sophomore year. So honestly, I did not have the college experience that I thought I would, but I will be going into my sophomore year.
Wow. So you kind of got robbed of like the end of high school, the beginning of college. You were that class that was kind of in the middle.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I was so thankful to be getting into the school of my dreams since sophomore year, and to go into this going into engineering now. And so it's like that's what I wanted to do. And so then getting into the school and then finding out all this COVID is coming in, and now it's like, oh, am I going to have a season? Am I actually going to go to school? And so I was grateful enough to be able to go to school, but it felt like I was on house arrest, if I'm going to be completely honest. There was like 3 or 4 meets for swimming. And I mean, we had one virtual meet, which was a little weird because yeah, so basically they just compared times, but it just wasn't the same. So it was a really interesting experience, and hopefully things will change, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're a swimmer, and tell us what college you committed to out in California.
So I am committed to California Polytechnic University. Cal Poly SLO, so it's in San Luis Obispo. Very beautiful area. I love hiking, so it was like, oh, this is the right place for me. So it's like a little bit of both. You got the beach, and then you have a little bit countryside. It was just perfect. So, and I had my cousin there as well, so I got to visit him, and I was like, wow, this is a really nice school. This is beautiful. And so he was like, yeah, there's a swimming pool. We go camping all the time. Like, sounds good to me. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Sounds like a fit. Sounds like a good place to be for sure. So you start off, you kind of have like a half season based on, what you told me. And then I read your story and your email about how you kind of had to make a decision about, choosing between your own morals and values and something that you absolutely loved, which was swimming. And with the rollout of all these vaccine mandates, especially in schools in California, that's a decision that unfortunately a lot of students are being forced to make. So tell us a little bit about how all that started and how you came to a decision.
yeah, so that it was definitely not easy because I've been swimming for 9 years and I've been competing and been enjoying the sport. I've grown up in like a very sporty, competitive family. So I've been doing sports ever since I was like 3 years old. And so I just fell in love with swimming and I enjoyed the sport. And it's coming to the point on being at school and being in the college era of competition. I mean, it was great, like kind of great with
Yeah.
COVID, but but honestly, I was like, when I got the email saying it's either your sport or you get the job, and I was like, well, personally, I have had a bad experience, a traumatic experience when I was younger with the flu shot. I unfortunately was hospitalized and they couldn't get my fever down. So it was really scary. I don't even remember most of it, but that happened. And then for religious reasons, of course.
Mm.
And so having, like, I've already written my religious exemption and everything. And then getting that email basically saying, we're not going to let you be in this sport that you've been doing, that you've been working hard for, unless you get the job. We're not going to let an exemption come through. So it was really heartbreaking to see. And you know what? I was like, you know what? God has better plans for me. And if that's the case, then so be it.
Yeah. It's a huge decision to make to ask somebody to give up something like that. And we hear so many stories of people just afraid to give up their careers and their dreams that they've been working on for years over a vaccine. Like whoever could have seen this coming?
You know, it's really sad that it's come down to this kind of division that's happening between everybody. Honestly, I've like growing up in this Christian home, I've known like how do you like confront a bully? That's how you stop a bully.
Mm-hmm.
So with everything going on, it's just like it's got to stop at one point, and you can't just let it keep rolling. Because how many times are they going to ask you, like, "Oh, actually, we need to take you. You need to take another shot," and then you
Mm-hmm.
have to take another shot. Like, how many times are you going to let this bully like come in? So
Right.
yeah, so we should have this medical freedom period, and um, I'm hoping to give awareness to all these athletes out there and um, try and change this. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So, something that we also hear a lot about is a pressure from athletes and people in careers that they experience being, the one of few that are unvaccinated. What was that like? I'm sure you experienced it as well.
Oh yeah, I've had girls come in my room and basically be like, "Are you taking it or are you not?" And I'm like, "That is a decision between me and God, and I'm not gonna share. It's HIPAA." So, yeah, exactly. So I've been pressured by all of my teammates and even like our coach and director for the athletics will be sending an email saying, you need to take it, you need to take it. Let me know that you guys have taken it by the fall. And this was even happening like back in June, like right before I left. And I was like, whoa. that's not happening. So especially since it's not even FDA approved.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a big misconception that a lot of people come after conservatives about is like, oh, so you'll take all these other vaccines when you have to get into college, but you won't take this one. Well, this one's not FDA approved. It hasn't been rolled out long enough to be tested, to be tried, to be proven truthful, really. So, how did you stay strong during that and not just cave to that pressure? Because that's really hard for people to do.
Oh, 100%. I actually like after all of that, I was just diving into the word and I ended up like really digging in and researching. I listened to Charlie Kirk's podcasts and I even listened to Candace Owens and I'm like, this isn't right.
Hmm.
And you can see it for yourself. Like they come with these amazing facts and just debates that are like questions that are totally valid. And so I just researched and I'm like, this is this is how it should be. And so I also like know I'm not alone. So that's really good to know.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many people out there that feel the same way or in the same position that you are. So, how has life changed since you made that decision to say, you know what, I'm not taking it. I'm going to give up swimming. Where are you at now?
I know like personally for me, I know I'm not going to go super far with this sport. My goal was to get into this school and really get into engineering. Um, but it, I mean, it does hurt to know that everything that I worked for through swimming is going away. But at the same time, it's like, um, it's kind of relieving to know like that not, I'm not going to let that change my mind. I'm not
Hmm.
going to let them like basically roll over and make me do stuff. So I'm like, yeah, no, no. So I'm not gonna let them tell me what to do.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So, you're getting ready to start school again. We're in August. You're getting ready to go back.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of like the pressure that you're still going to receive and the conversations that are still going to be had, even in the classroom?
You know, I know that I'm gonna be pressured, but I'm not gonna let that change my mind.
Hmm.
And I have built a community of people, and it's been really nice because I'm also a chapter with Turning Point at my school. And so I am able to really reach out to people and say, you're not alone in this. I'm here too. And you know what? I actually now know like 11 athletes that are in the same boat as me in different sports. And it's been really relieving to like feel like, oh, there's more people in this. It's not just me. So it's been really comforting to know.
Good. Yeah, that's a big part of the scare tactic because they like to make you feel alienated, like you're the only person on the planet that feels this way. And in regards to the vaccine, like that's such a personal decision. Like it shouldn't even be a conversation piece to ask somebody if they've been vaccinated or not. Like not only is it a HIPAA violation,
Exactly.
but like that's just common decency that you don't ask people about their medical history. And so not trying to push people one way or another to get it or not, but how did you have, you know, or what advice would you give to people that are kind of in the same boat that you were of having the confidence to do what's best for them?
You know, my future, well, I would say that your future is longer than your sport, or if you're being pressured, that you are bigger than what's going on. Like, you're bigger than this vaccine, and it's actually up to you to make that change. Because honestly, if you start getting people together, then you have a unity against something like this, and it shouldn't divide anybody.
Absolutely. I think that's so good. So what about for parents out there of kids that are in colleges? I mean, we kind of talked about this before we really started recording. What are things that parents can do when it comes to donations, to contributions, and when dealing with these schools that are pushing mandates on their kids?
Yeah, I think it's really important that parents are involved with what's going on, because I already know some kids that have been pressured into getting it, and their parents are just so disturbed that, oh my gosh, my kid got it without even talking to me about it. And so I think there's definitely places you can donate. Like, of course, Turning Point has been huge, especially for no vax with Charlie going against the mandatory vaccines at schools, which is huge right now. But I really think that they need, like, parents being able to talk to their kids before going to college, and like knowing like this is what you're going to be facing, and when fire comes to the when your feet comes to the fire, are you going to be able to like burn it out? So
Right.
parents need to support their kids by letting them know that they have a choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And being involved, I think, you brought that up. It's a huge part, because there's so many parents out there that just are so disconnected what's happening in their kids' life, even just at the younger age, like elementary school. They just don't know or don't care, and it's sad, and we really have to protect our rights. It's simple as that.
Because the kids are the future. So
Yep, absolutely. So you're an engineering major, correct?
yes,
What are your Hopefully that's one thing that they can't ever take away from you. You can
oh,
graduate that, and
yeah.
you what are your goals and aspirations with that?
So I actually am going. So I'm going into mechanical engineering, and it is very hard, but I am really excited to see where it takes me. I really want to go into maybe the like cars or aeronautics industry. So seeing where that takes me, and I'm just really excited for like what God has planned for me through that. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you always been interested in that?
you know, yeah, actually, I've been, when I was little, I was like working the remote when I was 2, and I've just been always interested in technology, and like, oh my gosh, this is cool. And been always a builder with Legos as a kid too. So I wasn't the Barbie kind of a girl. So, but yeah,
I love it. That's great. There's a big misconception out there that women aren't in the STEM, programs and industries, and they are. They're kicking butt in it. And I think it's awesome what you guys are doing. So I think you've got an exciting future. And like I said, I think you're just so inspiring for other people that are in that same decision, whether they make the same decision as you or go the opposite way. At least they know that they're not the only ones that have to make that type of decision.
no, and I hope they know that they're not alone, because there are so many other people that are out there that are willing to come together and meet you and understand that you're not alone, because we are all in this together for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Lauren. I appreciate your time to come on and share this story and be the voice for those of us that were raised right.
Of course. Thank you.
If you're a conservative ready to stand firm in their beliefs and fight for freedom, you're not going to want to miss a single episode of the Raised Right podcast. You can subscribe on any of your favorite podcast apps so you're up to date on what's going on in the political world. Be sure to like, follow, and share our content on the Instagram page at Raised Right Podcast and Facebook and Twitter at Raised Right Pod. This is what it means to be raised right.